That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
Like, what's up, danger? Like, what's up, danger? Like, what's up, danger?
What happened?
Carjacker, he's been shot. Look, we just called the paramedics. They're on their way.
Hey, stay back.
Uncle Ben? Uncle Ben? Uncle Ben?
Peter?
Now, let's get on to business. Spider-Man, the start of it all. The big man himself, Tobey Maguire. Now, it's simple to say, this man created Spider-Man. It was a huge cause for his eruption. Because, well, he was. What you thought I was gonna say? Something else? Spider-Man, played by Tobey Maguire, was a smash hit with $825 million made. Today I'm going to be reviewing the original film and many, many, many more Spider-Man adaptations. But first, the live action. We have to start where the hype began. Now, in the beginning of the film, I have to be honest, I did feel that the pacing was a little too fast. First 30 minutes into the film, Peter was already bitten, and Osborn was already using the Green Goblin vials on himself. Now, that itself made the film feel a little rushed to show the audience the excitement and make them immediately try to attach to the character. Which was well done, but could have been paced a little better in my personal opinion. Aunt May and Uncle Ben in the film are practically perfect. They have this charm to them that makes you want to love them, even though most fans know what's going to happen to Ben. Showing how poor and broke they are, with Uncle Ben struggling to keep a roof over their head, then Uncle Ben talking to Peter about how they have to paint the kitchen. It's almost perfect, but depressing to watch. Then when Peter disrespects Uncle Ben, it gets even worse. Now up next, William Defoe, playing Osborn. For his time, he was done wonderfully, though by today's standards, he would be a little goofy. He plays the role almost perfectly, though, being the perfect mix of an evil father who backstabs his kid. Isn't that right? Peter's first scene really discovering his powers, climbing that wall, such an iconic and cinematically perfected scene that is baffling. And his scene right after with the web is just as good. The fact of Peter's webs being organic instead of made, I actually enjoyed as a kid, and still do. It's really clever. The perfect mix of goofy and serious during that scene. James Franco's Harry Osborn is properly done, though wasn't perfect in my opinion, of the best friend but also backstabbing, manipulative person, because they honestly didn't give him enough of that best friend aspect in the film. Now, take a second, because I'm going to get to the person I hate the most in this film. This red-haired bimbo is possibly the most aggravating character in the whole series, and that says something. Oh no, don't worry, trust me, I'll get to you later. Anyways, moving on from that atrocious piece to ever share the screen with Peter. Now, probably the most well-known scene of the whole film, the upside-down kiss. On Peter's part, it's understandable, and I'm happy for him. He finally deserves a win after everything. But for this red-haired Jayma Mace, if she want to be hoeing, you best be looking at some damn malls. You let her double play both of y'all. For shame. For fucking shame, bro. Peter decides that it would be a good idea to become a wrestler to impress Mary Jane. Now, I'm gonna be honest, that whole scene low-key aggravated me. Instead of worrying about making money for his family that is clearly struggling heavily through the whole film, his first thought is to make money to impress a girl that treats him like utter fodder. I don't get it. I seriously don't. How disappointing can you possibly be? Then to add on to that, his inspiration for the red in his suit is clearly Mary Jane's hair. If you look closely into the scene, you could see that he's thinking about her while he's making the suit. And it pins in on her hair. Alright, yeah, I'm fucking done with this shit. Now back to one of the best Marvel villains. Osborn is having the voices in his head shown while his company is on the brink of failure. This scene builds character, demonstrating how daunting the task of handling the Green Goblin serum is for one person who can't perfect it. From then, you go to see Peter getting his "with great power comes great responsibility" line, which is almost done to perfection by his uncle. But God, do I hate Peter in this scene. Him being complete ass to his uncle and not taking anything he says into consideration bothers me. But at least it built better character. But still, the scene from Peter was annoying. Imagine someone who took care of you your whole life, practically, and telling them to stop pretending to be their father. Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine doing that. Now, his wrestling scene against the man himself, Macho Man Randy Savage, or Buzzsaw, was clean and done hella well for an early 2000s film, with a great cameo and feature, also with the robbery done well, with Peter responding with, "I missed the part where that's my problem." Now, Uncle Ben's death scene?
Peter.
Then you cut to Toby's face? God, I can't get enough of this. This scene was very emotional when I saw it as a kid, but watching it now, I was trying not to laugh. Him getting the killer killed was a pretty decent scene. I enjoyed it. But that's all. I didn't really feel a need for it. I don't know, just didn't feel it, I guess, until Spider-Man 3, but that is a whole different can of worms. I don't feel like opening up right now, if I'm being honest. Continuing on with people who have always been good characters, Aunt May. Her scene finding out about Uncle Ben's death, not gonna lie, was a little lackluster, with no talking and a crying hug. I felt almost no emotion watching that. Maybe back at the end I did, because of nostalgia watching it, but now it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, if I'm being honest with myself. Green Goblin's introduction into the film was done very, very fucking well, and it felt almost like a cinematic masterpiece. The good thing about Osborn, how William Defoe plays him, is that he made Peter feel like family for an ultimate backstab that hurt the viewer and made people feel like shit for Peter. Also, another thing, Harry being upset and jealous, then continuing on to be a dickhead and steal Peter's girl. Dick move, but whatever. Now, Aunt May's second conversation with Peter about Uncle Ben was perfectly executed and made me feel depressed. This leads on to show Peter how he made the suit, with Uncle Ben's voice in the background, which is very emotional. But sadly, you never get to see him actually make the fucking suit, which is kind of lackluster to the effect of showing off his nerd capabilities, which is honestly one of his best things. Then we get introduced to Omni Man. Oh wait, that's not... Oh no. I mean Jonah Jameson, and his performance was practically as perfect as the comics. Then we finally get to see Mr. Steal Your Girl mention to Peter about stealing his girl, with a small little mention of Eddie Brock from Jonah Jameson, which I thought was a good way to tease him for later. Until, you know, it wasn't a great way to tease him. Now to finish this off, I'm gonna let my boy Young Croc Lord finish off the video for me. Go check him out, he's doing his own pair of reviews himself with the game franchise, Jak and Dexter. Though, I'd recommend this Crash series. Funniest shit ever. Aight, take it away my boy.
The scene where Norman's old ass screamed about what he sacrificed was funny because of his damn face. All seriousness though, this scene was greatly made. You can really feel Norman's emotion and tone of voice to the point where that shit could touch anyone's soul. MJ's hoe ass figuring out who she looks best with between Harry, Spider-Man, and eventually Peter. You know what they say, fellas, skibidi-bop boop beep hoe belongs in the streets. The spider sense scene where Peter webbed Goblin's face was done pretty well. The camera work and the effects were well done. The same can be said about the first fight between Spider-Man and Green Goblin. For 2002, it's a very well put together and engaging scene. Now though, while still good, seems a little cartoony. The scene where MJ asks Spider-Man who he is was done greatly. The overall spirit of that scene was great. The cinematography, the score, was just a great scene that gave me really good feelings when watching it. Norman talking to himself, aka Green Goblin, was such an amazing scene. From the effects of Goblin's voice to Defoe's acting, this scene is just incredible. Shit, I be talking to myself too, especially at night, you know what I mean? I like how Jameson didn't sell out Peter for Green Goblin. I feel like he did that because he knew Spider-Man would come whenever there's danger. Just for him to do Jameson shit about Spider-Man. Dickhead. The work done for the Spider-Man kidnapping scene was done really well. The camera moving with Spider-Man falling was just amazing to look at. Mary Jane kissing Spider-Man was an amazing scene. The burning building scene was just amazing. It starts off strong with Spider-Man saving the baby, then from there it only gets better. The little jump scare scene where Goblin was pretending to be in danger really took me by surprise. There were no signs that shit was gonna happen. The fight in the building was absolutely amazing. The acting, the setting, and the camera was done beautifully, and the fact that the building could collapse at any moment really enhances the suspension. And the slow-mo dodging scene just makes me go... Oh! The scene where Norman was investigating Peter's room was, it was alright. I don't know if it's because of how it's aged, but I feel like the scene could have been done better. But I have 3 things to say about this scene. 1, the blood looks weird. I know blood is thicker than water, but god damn, it looks like someone put a cherry Kool-Aid mix into some nut. 2, how the fuck did he hear that blood touch the floor? Does this fucker have super hearing? 3, what was the point of this scene? Personally, this scene could have been either trimmed or removed completely and it wouldn't change much. The last fight between Spider-Man and Green Goblin was great. It was fun seeing them really go at it. However, some parts of the scene really shows how much of a 2000s film it is. Like if the scene where Goblin's bomb blew up in Peter's face was made now, it would look unnecessarily dumb. Also, Goblin's death nowadays looks cheesier than cheese itself. The close-ups and the part where Green Goblin said, "Oh," looks so damn laughable, even by 2002 standards. The scene in the funeral where Harry tells Peter that he wants revenge on Spider-Man is a great way of foreshadowing Harry's development in future films. The part where MJ confessed her love to Peter at the funeral seemed like it came out of nowhere. I mean, I guess there were signs of this in the earlier scenes, but even so, this scene, once again, felt like it came out of the goddamn woodwork. Peter's reasonings of why he rejected Mary Jane's confession can be relatable in a way. This is because he already has a lot of responsibilities as not only as Peter Parker, but as Spider-Man. He thinks he doesn't have time for a relationship, or at least for the time being. Little does Peter know that she becomes more of a bitch in later films. MJ, suck my dick! I'm out!
Alright, well, that went pretty good. What do we got next?
I believe there's a hero in all of us. Gives us strength, makes us noble. Even though sometimes we have to give up the thing we want the most.